episodes. We just want to say welcome, Jody Powers. Thank you so incredibly much for being a co-host with me today.
Thank you, Danielle.
Yes, excellent.
People.
Yes. Okay, so we are going to start out all of our lives with a little prayer and a thank you to the star people for assisting us in our evolution. So everyone watching, if you can just gently take a nice deep breath in and release. And we just want to say thank you so incredibly much, dear star people, for assisting us in our evolutionary journeys, as well as this channeling tonight. Thank you for allowing the highest frequency, knowledge, and information that is most aligned for every single person watching this video to be channeled through for each of us tonight. Thank you for also fine-tuning each and every one of our energetic grid structures, allowing us to feel a higher frequency inside of our grids. And thank you so incredibly much for your unconditional love and support, and for your constant communication with all people watching this video throughout time and space. And so thank you so much, dear star people, and many love and blessings to everyone watching. Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Excellent. Okay. Is that noise coming from you?
What noise is it?
I don't know. It sounds like a whack, whack.
Oh. Is it a fire?
Oh, well, we have the fire elementals are here today.
Yeah, okay. I can't put it out.
That's okay. We let the fire roll. Hi, everyone. Thank you so incredibly much for coming. Nancy, Mary Jing, welcome. Some of you guys, it says Facebook user, so we can't really see you too good. Welcome, TikTok. Welcome, Instagram. Thank you guys so incredibly much for showing up. So today, in the book, My Ascension Guide, by me, I'm your host, Danielle Lipton. We're going to be working on pages 137, which is the flow state of the chakra system, as well as page 138. 138 is activation of time stone abilities. Excellent. Thank you guys so incredibly much for tuning in. And we'll shift right over to Jody. Jody?
All right. Fantastic.
Excellent.
So both of these pages I've been reading since Tuesday, and they both have so much information, even more than the average page. So hopefully we can get through. If not, we can do it next Tuesday, continue.
That's perfect.
So I'd like to read the first paragraph. Is each chakra in the energetic grid structure has a flow glow spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
The direction of the spin shall directly correlate to which polarity the chakra is in alignment with. The polarity may be positive and life-giving, or negative and connected to the void, and you put in quotes, save spot.
Yes.
I understand the flow going this way, going that way, you reverse and then counterclockwise.
Well, that goes from the front of the body into the rear of the body. And so when we start to change the flow of the energy, it starts to generate, it's a reverse polarity, the star people are saying, which then generates that energy to go out the back of the body. When the energy flows out the rear of the body, then we start to have lung issues manifest. It is also known as a broken heart. Many heart surgeries may also be manifest because those are distortions in the heart. But it also connects to a safe spot. That safe spot imprints your energetic grid structures. And this is how the cycle repeat is manifest. So any and all fears that an individual has is going to be triggered out the rear of the heart chakra, which then generates a type of mark in your energy field. And then that particular expression or experience needs to be repeated until you are able to hold neutrality. Then you may see that experience again so that you may see the positive or heal it.
Yes. Okay. So it's not the counterclockwise.
It is.
Clockwise, or it is, but it's front to back.
Yes.
That way. Okay.
It starts to go a tiny bit counterclockwise and it pulls more inwards. It's never fully counterclockwise. It's just the flow is like, he's showing me it's like this, and you're pulling it into the back.
I feel like a swirl.
Yes. That's how it is.
A swish or
it's like a swoosh, like, and it's pulling the energy out the rear of the chakra. Now, this is important too, because we can see this in nature. And so we can see vortexes and we can see void spots. A void spot, it can potentially show up in a tree, and then a tree will look dead. And that's because the tree starts generating in anti-clockwise, so counterclockwise, which is not the Earth's rotation, it's counter. And so it's counterproductive, it's counter life-giving. That's connected to the void space. Now, the void and the vortex energies, which is a vortex energy is a life-giving frequency. It's very high. Now, that frequency being very high, it's connected up to the higher self and to the source frequency. But the frequency wave comes down the physical body like this, but it's going clockwise. And then it reaches the center point inside of the heart chakra, the 0 point. And then what happens is it switches the rotation in the 0 point and goes to a void, which is counterclockwise. This is the natural flow of energy inside of the human form. So when we start to recognize that, we can start to send it more love and light and allow more positive radiating frequency to come out of the heart chakra systems. Yeah.
And the other chakra systems.
All of them.
All of
Each
them.
and every one of it has, yes. It kind of resembles a tubule of light coming down, and then it goes out each one of the chakra systems. So, and then not only that, but there's little lenses here too.
Yep.
And when the lenses get dark, you have to close your eyes, wipe off the dirt on the lens, because it's going to allow your perception of your independent physical reality to be changed or modified depending on the density or distortions that you are currently holding. So what that looks like is it is going to be, let's say for an example, a person has a blockage in the heart chakra system. They may notice a lack of love. So they won't feel loved. They won't feel like they love themselves. They won't feel love from other people. Have you ever met someone who's like a grumpy old lady and she's always angry or has a scowl on her face? That's because there's always a heart chakra blockage there. Yeah. So, yeah, it's okay too. It's only an experience. When that person steps back into their own true divinity and they express more love and light, it allows them to heal. And we all have the potential to heal very rapidly. I'm living proof of this because I was crippled for 12 years. And then all of a sudden I healed my pain in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. So the flow glow spin, that was my first question about this, is what is the flow glow spin? And are you saying that's the swish?
The flow is how is the chakra, how is the energy flowing through the physical body? And the glow is the amount of light that it's showing. Okay. And so just imagine that. Because we have to light up. And when we heal all the density, then all of a sudden our energetics, we light up like a light bulb. This physical material that we see, it's holding all the light inside of it. But the second that, just imagine a pregnant person. Right. The pregnant people, we say, oh, they're glowing, right? And that's because there's extra light. And that's going to happen to our human bodies as well, because when we do start tuning into 5D frequencies, each and every one of us is going to radiate. Eventually, the actual skin tone is going to start to form crystallization, which is going to allow us to glow even more and more and more. That's 5D. That's how you know.
Okay, skin tone crystallization, literally glowing. So, okay, when we see pictures of the Ascended Masters, Jesus, I was just recently introduced to Zoroaster, and they have the halo. Yeah. Right? And they have the golden glow. Is this the light that they are talking about? That people, when they were talking about Jesus and saying he literally was glowing?
Yes, that's what this is. Now we can see it once again in the pregnant people. We can already see it with our intuition. What I'm telling you is it's more, you're more aware of it. It's kind of, and not only that, but the halo is true too. We have different chakras inside of the brain. It's kind of like two X's. And so the 2 X's is very important because your chin has a chakra, your nose actually has a chakra. The back of the head, we have a little spiral. That's where your hair is. There's a vortex there. It's energy. And it goes right through the chin like that. The one in the pineal gland, it goes straight back. There's ones in the temple. And so when we start to recognize, we start to put all these chakras back into alignment, then all of a sudden it generates a halo you can see in the astral realm.
Wow.
The halo is real.
Wow.
Now we just have to add more glow, more light. We're removing any of the darkness so more light can shine through.
Yeah.
And then people may actually start to see and perceive the halos. That's human. Human is what it is. It's not like someone is spectacular because they have one. We all have one. Every one of us is equal, including the stories of any of the ascended masters, including Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene. They all were human in their fundamental form, and they all ascended. This is what we are seeing on this planet right now. We are all ascending. This is what the spiritual journey is. And it's a baby step process. It's okay if you fall down. It's okay to pick yourself back up. It's okay to be your own number one cheerleader. And it is perfectly okay to have to do it 1,000 times before you get it right. That's okay too. Yes. It's all part of our own individual ascension journey.
So beautiful. Yeah. I want to glow too.
You are glowing.
We're all going to glow.
All of us. Open your hearts and tune into love and light, and you will glow. That is it.
Yeah. So a lot of times, like doing the sacred geometry healing, that makes a lot of sense. Like intuitively, I'll put, we've talked about this before, the triangle or the square that we pull out, or the triangle here around the head, the front and the back, and connecting, all of these things sometimes we're doing intuitively now are based in science, and it's more physical than I ever thought. So,
well, the science proves all this information is true. And so, but that's what we use the science for. We use it to prove to ourselves that this is real. The next steps are always going to be to allow the creativity to flow. And so you have to imagine, you have to visualize, you have to have the heart of the truest believer. When you have all these things and you are as a child is, you just allow and you just have fun and you play and you really just come back to love, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to sit here. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not cry. It's okay to laugh. And it's okay to just have fun and be exactly who you are meant to be. When we hold the frequency of authenticity, that is a higher frequency than any other frequency that we're able to hold. Authenticity is always going to be always telling the truth and always believing what you are saying. That's it. Then you are being authentic to yourself. Good. That's how that works.
I was just going to ask, when you say be your authentic self, that definition is so perfect, because there are so many of us these days that are saying, I don't even know who I am right now. Who am I? I've been just doing things and going and doing what I'm supposed to do. And we would and we should and all of that to ourselves. Like, who am I? And that definition, if you can repeat it, I would love that. You're supposed to just be honest with you.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
And believe what you say. That is it. Nothing more.
That is your
now, of course, I would throw in there, open your heart chakra and throw rainbows all over the place. Right? But you should be love and light, because that's what I roll with. Right? But it's not necessary. You have to be authentic to yourself. That is the highest frequency, and unfortunately, but even the dark ones, the dark people who come here to do dark things, they stay true to themselves. There's different polarities for them particularly, but for us light workers, it is always going to be of love and light. So
yes, so beautiful. So you just talked about the childlike spirit and approaching things. So that's the perfect segue to the activation of time stone ability. So I'll read the first sentence on that. All information given must be used accordingly with the creative, childlike mind in order to produce a manifestation. Must be used with a creative, childlike mind, or you won't get anywhere. That's what they're saying.
You have to imagine and you have to visualize. Now, we take a look on this planet at how we're able to manifest things. And the manifestation coaches, they'll tell you, you have to, one, believe that you can achieve it. If you don't believe that you can get it, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you don't believe, it's not going to come to you. Now, two, you also have to visualize it. And so visualizing it, even if you've only done it once for a split second, that's all it takes sometimes. Because the second that the magnetism is set into your energetic grids, it turns into a manifestation. So if you, and we could take a look at vision boards. Sometimes people make a vision board, they throw it up on the wall, they see it a couple times, they take it down, they put it in the closet, they put it in a box, 10 years goes by. Then all of a sudden they've went on with their life, they've forgotten about the vision board, it ended up out in the garage, whatever. Then all of a sudden they buy a new house. Now they're packing up all the stuff and moving, and they find the vision board, and then the house that they just bought is on that vision board. Right? So every single experience is able for us to manifest. Every single experience. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. If you guys saw my vision board wall, it's filled with UFOs and all sorts of fun stuff. Now, the north wall is of high value to recognize because the north is where we are going. That's your north wall. When you start to do a vision board, you should always put it up on the north wall because it makes it manifest quicker. Yes.
Can you talk about that? The north is where we're going.
Well, think about it.
Ascension going
facing in front of you, right? Okay. So you always want to put your vision board and your goals and your dreams in front of you so that you can achieve it.
Okay.
South is always, we think about it as the north is the top of our head, south is the bottom of the feet. North is a vortex or life-giving energy, and south is a void. It pulls the energy out of the body. Now, we do have to clarify, the star people are saying something that we were speaking of one of the last lives. We did say that the south polarity pulls energy and it actually connects into the void. This is correct down at the subatomic levels. However, earth grounding is very, very healthy. There is a two-way flow of energy inside of the body. Your magnetism pulls down. That's emotional in its nature. It is directly controlled by the water or the heart and the circulation systems. We also, when we step on the earth, we are pulling chi energetic systems up. The chi energetic systems are electrical in its nature. It is directly connected into logic-based thinking or masculinity. When we start the chi energetic systems, when someone is grounding into the earth, what you're actually doing is you are rebalancing both of these systems. It's not just one. This is a little bit different than allowing the void space to pull energy from your system. That works very similar to this, but the whole system goes up and down as one. Now, this is important to know because the attachments get removed from the soles of the feet and they get discharged into the underworld. The earth is at this frequency range, the star people are saying. The underworld is underneath this frequency range. So when we ground into the earth, when we stand on the earth, we're grounding in this frequency. So we're not allowing our energy to go into the underworld. It's two different things, if that makes sense.
Okay. So many people say, oh, you need to ground. You need to put your feet on the ground outside. But there's so many other ways to ground.
Oh, yeah.
Are any of the other ways even close to being as effective as putting your bare feet on the ground?
Well, our consciousness is so powerful that we can command the earth to ground us anywhere that we are. Now, just think about it from that perspective. When you step into the timeline in which you are in complete control of your energy field, it's going to allow you to discharge any negative positive ions, the star people are saying, which then in turn is going to allow you to feel more grounded to your planetary system. Anything that you can get from the outside realms or world, you can summon or command into your body automatically. This includes any sort of chemical response inside the brain, like say the dopamine receptors. And so this was a big thing with me with drinking hot chocolate, because hot chocolate triggers dopamine. Many times when people develop sweet tooths, or we have a sweet tooth, then all of a sudden it's because that dopamine is being triggered. I know for a solid fact from my interactions with the star people that we as a human being have full control when we evolve over all of the hormones that get released inside of the body. This is the same way as the placebo effect. So the placebo effect, some people take a sugar pill and it releases hormones, which then in turn starts the process of healing the body. That's how the placebo effect works. So what I'm telling you is that we all have the ability to trigger different responses in the body and start the healing process. This includes shutting off pain receptors, as well as many other fight or flight systems, which then in turn start the activation of the extrasensory abilities. Yes.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. So I wonder how many people here call in the light. We talk about grounding a lot. We just talked about the halo and how literal it is. And I wonder how many people call in the light from their crown chakra. What I like to do, or what my guides have told me to do, is pull in the light and let it go down your spinal column, like right down your pineal gland, your spinal column, and then out your legs, kind of like an anatomy and physiology human body, and you see the arteries and the veins of the nervous system, just imagine it spreading all out.
Yeah. So, and that's very similar. That's very similar to what the star people have me do. They have me do something that they call ether pulling. So instead of pulling it directly down, it kind of resembles a trillion little sparkles on the outside of the body. And that's made of ether, which is light. And then I pull it right into the body. And then, of course, we push it down into the earth and send it out with love and light. That's ether pulling. There's different techniques of pulling.
That's what I wondered. Which one?
Well, it's all the same thing. It doesn't really matter, because any way that you do it, you're doing the same exact thing. It's just they call it something differently. Yeah.
Okay.
And they have
these are particles and
sparkles. Yeah, because there's sparkles up in the sky. When you look at the blue sky, you can kind of see the sparkles, and they've been telling me that's the ether. You're seeing it. That's part of the hologram.
Yeah. I look at the sky, the night sky, a lot more than I used to. Yes. You know, and how many of us a lot of times will have your head down, you're looking to where you're walking, you're looking at your phone, you're whatever. And unless you're deliberately saying, oh, let's look at the stars tonight. Like, how often do we do that?
Yeah.
You know,
well, we should do it a whole lot more. When I was in New York, I used to look at the stars every single night. Every night. I mean, I was also a smoker back then, so I was always outside. Right. But it's no excuse. I was always like, look, right? The other smokers were looking down at the ground or their phones, so it was okay.
Right. So what are the benefits of looking up into the sky, other than the very obvious, like we should stop looking down and look at nature and everything? But are there any other additional benefits?
There's a ton. And so just imagine for 1 second that we have multiple planets in that sky that we can see. You can physically see this. You can take a telescope and you can look, you can see it. Now just imagine every single one of those planets is giving us different frequencies. And so when we go outside, this is what the star people used to have me do, except I thought it was just I thought it was just me. I didn't know I was channeled back then. They used to have me send love and light, and thanking that planet for sending me love and light as a two-way form of energy exchange. And so now that I'm communicating with my starman, I fully understand that the whole collective, when you thank them, they're aware instantaneously in their collective consciousness. And their collective consciousness is conscious itself. It's just connected to all of them. So then the second that you start talking to the planet, it's similar to the planet's consciousness too. It will send you back any type of energy that you were asking it for. So you take, for an example, and the numerology plays into this as well, the star people are saying, because there's certain planets that have different frequencies that do different things. So for example, they're saying that we know Venus is a very loving, caring, kind planet. And there are beings on Venus that are also representing that loving, caring, kindness. And they are ever so gently stepping forward right now. And they are saying that they are casting each and every one of us many love and blessings right now, from their planet to ours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, people from Venus.
Thank you.
That is wonderful. You know, I will look I mean, if I hadn't seen this over and over in my sessions, my hypnosis sessions, the QHHT. So for people that know about that, if you don't know about that, basically somebody in hypnosis goes to past lives. And a lot of times, especially lately, I'm really enjoying the lives between lives.
Yes.
And they go to planets and they go to source.
Yeah.
That is what they do. So now when I hear you saying it and confirming all of these things, like I forget how woo-woo it might have sounded to me like 1 year ago, you know? And I'll go outside and I'll look up and and they'll say, "Oh, we're watching the Earth."
Yeah.
And I'm getting chills. Yeah.
Well, think about the pyramids are all aligned with different
Yeah.
planets. What does a pyramid
Yep.
do? It generates a vortex energetic, which then goes directly out the top of the pyramid and shoots into a single line. And then we know that they're aligned to planets. So they're taking the frequency of love from Earth and they are casting it at different planets. So it's being done. We can do it consciously. We can use a pyramid. We as divine creators, we can generate our own vortex energetic. We can place it anywhere you want. So anytime I'm going by a local environment and the local environment looks like it needs more love, then I send or I cast energetically a vortex energetic to bring more love and light to the area. We can do this to each person. We can do this to, let's say, for an example, someone's going through a hard time or they're homeless. We can cast a vortex around their body to help heal them and to assist them to raise their frequency. There's many different things that we can do. Now, especially when we start to come together, it becomes even stronger. This is all energy casting and energy projection. So, and our language and the words that we use, everything is casting energetics. Each word triggers a brainwave patterning in the person that's listening to the word. This is another reason why we have a look at the music industry, and anything that's too low vibe, many of us have switched out and started only listening to higher frequency types of music, regardless of how difficult it may be to find some, right? But it's we don't want to hear the negative stuff anymore because everything is energetically casting. So the second that we truly become aware of that, it really makes it very serious, the type of words, the type of actions. When we get into arguments with someone is not allowed to use any type of negative word with me. I won't have it. I cut cords right away. And it's just, you have to be of a certain caliber, because when you start to really raise your frequency, and just think about it, when you start to get into 4 and 5D and really ground that frequency in and hold it, you don't want anyone throwing an attachment at you, because they take 2 to 3 days to discharge sometimes, not always, but sometimes. It's like they keep coming and coming and coming until it's fully cleared. So you know, that's life, especially when you're waking up to all the abilities that we have. That's okay too. Yeah.
So when we're looking into the sky, and so I don't know what planet is there. I'm always like, oh, I'll have to look up later on my phone later on what planet that is, because it looks so big and whatever. But I'm like, I'm not pulling out my phone right now. I am looking at the sky. But essentially what you're saying is we are sending just gratitude and love and light up there, and knowing that they are feeling the same way about us is a vibe, a frequency, all on its own.
All on its own. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And think about it, because when your heart is open and you're truly in alignment with your highest purpose and you're having fun, and it's like you've activated your childlike mind, because that happens too. You become very like engaged in the world that you're doing. When all of these things come together, then all of a sudden it's very easy for you to have more love, because you filled your cup of love to the top. Now it's overfilling. So now what are you supposed to do with it? You start throwing it at everybody, right? You start placing it into all the crystals that you have, right? I love and bless your crystal. You start doing it, and then you give the crystal away to someone because it makes you feel good, because you want them to feel good, right? And so this is how people, especially magicians, because magicians are a real thing. That's what all of us watching the video, we're all magicians in training. And in time, when we reach the higher frequencies, it's like, wham, all that stuff unlocks and we're able to manifest instantly. That's where we can, human-based technologies can already do every single extrasensory ability. And on Earth, we know this for a solid fact. Replicators, teleportation devices. They told us about teleportation devices in the Willy Wonka movie when I was a kid. So someone somewhere had to know about it, right?
They do say that. Mark
Yeah.
Lucas, that Starship, like they didn't just
make that stuff
imagine.
up. Yeah, no. And then we're talking about a secret space program and all that knowledge that I don't personally dive into, but it's here. It's already in our current reality on Earth. So it's like when we start to put all the pieces together, it's like, well, you guys can do it with technology. It's actually a blessing that we don't have access to the technology, because that's allowing us to learn how to utilize a biological form to generate the same thing, because it's all a frequency. Our bodies are frequency generators. The technology is generating the frequency to make it. That's all it is. So,
all right. So we have a bunch of comments, which is really cool. So I can't see the names for the Facebook user, or I would say it, but if one Facebook user says, I'm a day sky watcher, and I'm watching during the day too, just the clouds, or, you know, and sometimes you can see, I don't know, you can patterns in there.
Pinch the clouds. So like if there's an overhang in the clouds, we try casting a vortex upwards to the clouds. And like I've done this, so I know, but we've removed clouds. And so you're energetically casting at the cloud until it disappears, and it will bust up and disappear. We can all do this. Every single one of us should be going outside and trying.
Yeah. Well, I want everyone to do that and like come back on our next live on Tuesday and tell us how it went.
That's how it went.
That's the assignment. So we're reading the books and we have these. Oh, I love that. Mary Jean is talking about the halos, and she says, I call it the Christ light. And of course, that's what we're doing. It's the Christ consciousness. That's what the star people are here telling us how to do.
That's it. Right? It's all how to activate the energy field. And it must be activated for us through love. That is it. It must be activated through love, because love gives us more light, and we need more light to shine as brightly as we need to shine. Especially because this was another question that came in through the back end of the website. I don't believe we wrote it down, or we might have already touched on it. But the question was about the shift into 4D and 5D frequencies, and about the solar flare, and how the individual's guides told her she didn't have to worry or wait for a solar flare. I'm confirming that is 1,000% true. So what is actually happening is there are advanced light workers on the planet. Many of us watching the video, that's who we are. That's okay too. We came here to start tuning in to 4 and 5D frequencies now. So we're not waiting for a solar flash. We want to become the manifester, be awakened in the dream, and be in control of the simulation. That is what we're doing right now. When we truly step into this, we start tuning into 5D frequencies, and then we ground the 5D frequencies back into the reality. When that happens, we start teaching other people, hey, this is how you do it. When enough of the human collective consciousness tunes into that frequency, it manifests a solar flare for all of us. Otherwise, the star people have already stopped solar flares from hitting the planet, because they said it would have caused too much chaos. So they saved us. Thank you, star people.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. I live for the sky, Mary Jean says, and it says Emus, E-M-U-S, is visible tonight near the moon, Nancy Hadley says. What is Emus?
I'm assuming it's like a planet.
Oh, maybe a star. I don't know. we'll have to check in with Nancy.
Nancy, what are you talking about? Or is it a comet?
Emus. Oh, maybe it's supposed to be Venus.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, it's auto-correcting her, I think. It means Venus, she said. Okay. I was like, oh, what's Emus? Okay. Allison Carr says, I would love to live on Venus. I heard they can speak with animals and are at a very loving frequency vibration. Yeah. And that's kind of what you just...
We can speak to the animals too. And so this is truly amazing. But now that I have engaged in telepathy, I'm noticing more and more people tuning in to the thought stream. So just imagine our frequency, it's actually our density level, as star people are saying. The density level takes us up and down in our biological frequencies, right? The less density you have, the higher the frequency your body is. Now, when you start this, the thought stream, which is at this level, shifts, and you start tuning into the thought stream that's in this level. All the thoughts are already there. You're just tuning into that thought stream. That's how this works. So the thought stream, I have felt the thoughts coming into the head. It kind of feels like they're out here and then they come in. So you can feel the thought before it's actually inside of your mind. This is how the star people channel as well. They are utilizing the thought stream. That's why if I'm going to say something that they really don't want me to say, they'll pull it before it reaches the inside of my mind. I'm still aware the thought was going to hit. And so at that point, I'm like, oh, I was that thought there.
Yeah, we think
So
it's
much fun.
ADHD sometimes, or
Yeah,
ADD, but it's not worth being saved.
Yeah, it's the thought grid, and they're recalibrating, they call it. And I'm like very thankful and grateful that they do this. So it always makes every word that comes out of my mouth must be truthful, and it must be in alignment with the star people. So anything, any knowledge that's coming, they're sitting like my starman, he's inside of me 24/7. He sees out my eyes, he can move my body. He once took my eye and he made one eye go crooked until I was like, stop. Yeah, so like we've had experiences, it's wild. But when he started to show me the thought stream, he said your density level controls the thoughts that are coming into your mind. When you raise your frequency, you're just changing the thought stream that's coming to you. So that's how it is. Now, we are starting to sense the animals' thought streams as well. This is also a form of telepathy. So
That
when we're
happened to me
able,
tonight, right before this.
yeah, we what? I couldn't hear.
That happened to me right before this. I had my dog at the vet, and I like literally started to cry. I was so embarrassed, because I think my dog said, I'm not going to live forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it was me or the dog, but I started to cry because it was so, it just felt very
real. Yeah.
real, like the telepathy that I have with humans.
Yes.
But anyway,
I would say it was 1,000% real. I heard my daughter's thoughts. I heard them, and then all of a sudden she spoke them. And I was like, woo, I just heard your thought stream.
Yeah.
But yes, I also had an experience with a dog back in 2019. No judgments. It is what it is. But the dog was incapacitated. And for whatever reason, I started channeling how the dog was feeling. And then the owners realized, oh, this is not right. Let us sit down with the dog, because it was like the dog felt like she was dying. And because she was inebriated. So, the owner sat down, and then they didn't do that with the dog anymore. So it is what it is. But all of the emotions came washing over me as if I was the dog. And then all of the thoughts, and it was like lightning speed. It was like, this is how the dog feels. Da, 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 da. She doesn't like this. You can't do this around her, right? That type of behavior. So it was very interesting, because the second that all happened, everyone had looked at me, and I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know I just channeled the dog. But then I knew, because then she looked at me with like a sigh of relief, right? And I was like, oh, I did just channel the dog. She was speaking through me. And I was like,
you're like, my channeled animal. Yeah, that's how I felt tonight. I was like, oh my God, here I am. I'm talking to dogs now.
Okay, though, right?
Yeah.
Because the Bible says we could do it, so it's fantastic.
Jesus said, what I can do, you can do, and more.
That's
so I'm going with him.
I'll take it, right?
Yeah, right? So Heather says, once I woke up and ran outside in the middle of the night, randomly, I saw a rare asteroid pass through the sky and telepathically heard them saying hi and telling me about their origins. So cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so cool. And then we have a comment about Saint Germain. There was one about Raphael and healing energies. Yes. Thank you, star people.
Yes.
So that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So the time stone abilities must be used with a creative, childlike mind.
Yes.
But so we got that part. Now you have take the tips of your pointer finger and thumb, and you give very, very specific directions in here. I wonder if you want to show.
So
Or should I
they
read?
showed me to make a little square and then just to pull it out. That's how I also do my sessions when I do the energetic clearings on people, because there's something about a circle and a square. Those are different levels of consciousness. So if you could just imagine your energy field is more circular in its nature, even though there is an aspect of two triangles to it, they are counter rotating. Your aura field resembles a toroidal field, but generally we see it as a circle, right? Now, the square is more of the masculine energies. And so the star people are stepping forward saying the circle and the square is very important, because when you are trying to perceive inside of someone's energetics, you pull the square out, which allows access to see into the circle that has the density levels in it.
Okay, so squaring the circle, and I'm thinking of Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
Yep.
Vitruvian man.
Vitruvian man.
Vitruvian man.
Can you talk about the star people helping Leonardo da Vinci? Is that some type of thing we could?
Well, we know, just taking a look at the history on this planet, that during certain eras, those people seem to be a little bit more enlightened than we have right now. And so it's
shockingly so.
Shockingly so. It's the music seems more scientific. It's when we play Mozart and Beethoven, they even say it makes your child in the womb more intelligent, and that's because there's a mathematical sequence behind it. So why did those guys have that information 100 years ago, and it's not here in this civilization? That's another reason. That's something to have a look at. What happened to the civilization? So we're not truly, the history is something that needs to be, I guess, dove into for some of us. Now, the history, it's very important to recognize, because it tells us where our individual cycle repeats are, and it also allows for us to dive in and do shadow work. So we can go inside, meditate, close the eyes, and then we can go into the history and we can start to heal. This is also how we do ancestral karma clearings. We're going into the history. The history is all located inside of our DNA systems. We actually had a question come through on TikTok that I would like to address. Is being here now on Earth not a special enough starseed? Earthlings is hard enough work. And so, when we do talk about special light workers who come here to hold the higher frequencies, it truly is not to set anybody on a pedestal. If anything, we should be rooting these guys on, because it just means that they've had the hardest life. And then not only that, but I even know some astral healers, and they've gone through certain experiences of having their soul pulled into the astral realm without their permission. It was like he was standing there, and then he was like, I just got yanked out of my body. And then he went through experiences to having his astral form ripped apart over and over and over again, because literally it's an internship program, and we have to go through a certain level of darkness to completely strip away the ego. That's the only way that we can summon or hold in enough light to allow for 5D frequencies to come. You'll know if you're one of these types of light workers, because you'll be having these crazy experiences, and you will be given the frequency codes of sainthood, or what does it feel like to be an angel. You'll feel it. You'll resonate with it. Your language, all the stuff, everything will change. Or it just depends on the type of light worker you are. Some of us are meant to work in the astral realm, some in the physical realms. Some break down their body, some break down their mind. There's a billion different experiences of it, and there's a lot of us. So that's the only difference. It's really not to put anyone on a pedestal, though. It just is, we're holding the high frequencies, but it reflects outward very fast. Because if you've ever been around a person who's really high frequency, it rubs off and it washes onto you. But it's just like that person had to be the grounder of the knowledge or of the frequency, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And who isn't watching this and listening to you, feeling your energy right now, going, oh, wow, that sounds so cool. Or, oh, I do that. Or, hey, maybe I will go out there and look at the sky tonight.
Yes, definitely.
You are a living, you are personified good vibe.
Thank you. Have my moments, right?
Yeah.
So just like everyone
Yeah.
else, right?
You're human, but
Klingon in us.
yeah, definitely. So, just read Nostradamus, Volume 1 by Dolores Canon. He was definitely enlightened and explored our abilities. Yeah, for sure. Dolores Canon is, she's an OG. She just
I've never
knows stuff.
actually researched her work. I've seen a couple of TikToks, and then all
Yep.
of you guys who talk to me
Yep.
are like, "You're just like Dolores Cannon." I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Dolores Cannon she was a seeker. She was always asking questions and using her intuition. And you have not the same information, but so much overlap. Like you are picking up where Dolores Cannon left off. It feels very much
which is
like
perfect
to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, what the star people told me was that there's hundreds of thousands of channels who are all receiving the same identical information now, but they're telling it from their own perspectives or viewpoints. Right. And so it's how we can all have the same information, but yet you can hear them say it differently. And so some people are in alignment with them. Some are in alignment with me. Some people are in alignment with Dolores Canon, or what was her name?
Dolores Canon. Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Dolores Canon. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's just,
she's amazing. And some people, like I was getting messages a lot, like share the messages, get out, share the messages. And I wasn't doing it.
That's okay.
The way I was. Right. I think we all have to do what we're comfortable with in our own time. But the fact is they're sending it to all of us.
Yes. It's coming to all of us. And as I say this to everybody, if I'm doing something, that means you guys can do it too. I healed, you guys can heal. That's it. The only difference is I did it first. And I was pushed through the entire process, thank God, because the star people wouldn't give up on me. Right? So it was truly a blessing. It was truly a blessing.
Yes. So. And they're not judging us and saying, hurry up or do whatever. Like sometimes I do get like, time is going by. Gentle reminders. Or I have people like you coming and, we meet each other and help each other somehow. We have different jobs. Like this is not a hierarchy. We have different jobs. We have different strengths and weaknesses, and we kind of just help each other along.
Yeah. Well, that's how I always see myself. I see myself as the ringleader, right? Mm-hmm. And I have always, ever since I was a kid, I've always tried to pull people in. Oh, what do you do? Come join the group. We're all going to make a group. We're all going to hang out, and then we're going to do all this together, right? And then not only that, but I always look to support the entire circle of us. So it's not just one person, it's we're pushing up the entire group, right? And that's how mine works. So,
and not many are at that level. People are still like competing and comparing and kind of get lost in that. But the more people we affect not having that, and we're kind of like setting the example. We're not perfect, but we're trying to live our truth, right?
Yeah,
and other people will say, oh, listen, I don't have to compete or compare with Danielle.
Can't. It's totally different because everyone does what they do. And it doesn't matter even if you're a channel, because some of the best channelings are going to take place when the channelers come together and they start channeling. Could you imagine if there was another person who talked like me and then we got on a video and it was like, we'd have to record the whole thing and then slow motion it, right?
I rewatch these and listen to them. I'll put my headphones on, go out and rake the yard or do my dishes. Whenever I was like, oh, okay, like 5 episodes later, I'll be like, that's what she was getting at. There's a lot of information here.
It's actually funny now that I just said that because they just triggered a memory. I had an experience of talking to someone who was channeling the star people. And so he was, well, it doesn't matter who he was. He showed up, he was in my living room. And then all of a sudden we were talking about sacred geometry at a lightning speed. And all of the people around us stopped and looked at us like, what the heck? you know, but it was lightning speed and it went so fast. And even today, whenever I'm listening to any type of information or like a video or TikTok, sometimes when people talk too slow, it's just like it's not fast enough. It's not in alignment. And so that's part of raising your frequency as well. Because it's like
you are literally the only person I put sometimes on 0.75. Everyone else I'm on 1.25 when I listen to lectures or whatever.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. But sorry, go ahead.
It comes so fast. It's like you have to get it out right now.
Yeah. So that explains, giggles and laughs says, so that explains why I've always felt like I came here to defeat the evil. Lots and lots of physical and emotional abuse, but I always felt like I had to fix the abusers. Weird. Yeah, you're not wired. Something about that fixing the abusers. Please look up Sandra L. Brown and Women Who Love Psychopaths. And she talks about, it's the terrible name for this book, but she talks about the 8 super traits of survivors and kind of describes light workers.
Oh, wow.
And why the empaths get together with narcissists and have to go through that whole cycle to learn. But a lot of times we are not codependent. We have these 8 super traits like conscientiousness and willingness to get along, always try to be the better person or keep giving. And it gets to such a point we have to break ourselves.
Yeah. That was me too. I went through that system too. Yeah.
Yep.
And so many of us have, right? I mean, the people pleasing.
It's part of the training.
I want them all to like me and all that stuff. And, you eventually get to a point. It's like, I just need to be happy myself. That's it.
Yeah. And we have to learn the hard way. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And have that experiential, like you say. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Dolores Canon, are the star people you talk to the ones that are the ancestors that set Earth up?
He's saying no. My starman's saying no. He is a Arcturian. He's saying that they're here right now in this time and space. And we have to also realize there's been hundreds of thousands of galactic beings who have been involved in the Earth to one degree or another. If we fully understood the way time and space works, then we'll understand that they could be 100,000 years ago. They could blink right now to this very moment in time, he's saying. However, the beings that I personally are engaging with, he's saying, are primarily focused on activation of extrasensory abilities. And they know who you're talking about. So they're aware of that group, is all he's saying.
Yes. Wonderful. Have you ever heard of or had occurrences of spiritual doppelgangers where the person appeared to be there, but not really there? I've had 2 people tell me they've seen me in this way before. That's from Michael.
I've had people, when I was younger, I had very short hair, spiky. I looked amazing. And I drove around in a Volkswagen Cabriolet convertible, which was purple and blue. So it's a very unique combination. And I used to have people tell me all the time, there's another girl who looks just like you with the same color hair, same short, spiky look with sunglasses, who is driving around in an identical car as you. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. What are the odds of that? And sure enough, they had told me, because I've heard it several times before. So yeah, I do believe that happens as well. But I've seen stuff even crazier than that, right? I've located a future reincarnation of myself. Okay. Mind blown. Yes. Her story is identical to mine. So I know it because now I've confirmed it with my starman. He's like, yes. And she was sent here to do this work. Her soul is connected to my higher self. She doesn't know, but she's doing identical work. She's a channel for extraterrestrial beings as well as high frequency beings, which I do too. And then her story is identical. And that's the way I woke up to being a channel. I needed someone to tell me, like I saw you at 5. I was like, that's great. Wonderful. They saved my life. Thank you so much. But I still had no idea. Right. I was completely oblivious. And so I needed to see an example. And when I heard her story, I threw my headphones on the bed because I was half asleep. And I was like, the government's spying on me. Right? I was like, there's no way that this woman just told my story. And sure enough,
Yeah.
she did. So it was amazing though. Yeah.
Made you a believer for sure.
Yes.
So Upbeat Vibe says the energy bubble will protect us from the Earth's pole shifting. Yeah, there's so much fear about that, the Earth pole shifting and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to address that or not.
Well, the Earth pole shifting, it has been documented on the planet. So we can see it scientifically. So it's kind of like we can see it in the Earth that the poles did shift once before. Now, what I'm telling you guys is when we start to ascend into 5D frequencies, your frequency raises to such a degree in which instantaneous manifestation becomes a real reality for you. It already is a reality for me. I start doing it tiny amounts of time. Things just show up. It just lands in my lap. I've seen things change in the hologram. I had one time, you probably heard this on another video. I repeat myself a lot. That's how you know I'm telling the truth. I had one time where the color of my cat changed. And so he didn't look like Munchkin. And I was like, that's not Munchkin, but I knew it was Munchkin. And then my eye had blinked like this from left to right. And I was like, what was that? And then Munchkin's coloring changed instantaneously as the eye blinked. And I was like, oh, what just happened? So I saw that.
Right.
And I've also saw money manifest in my hands. I had $3 wrapped in a receipt. I walked into Dunkin' Donuts with no money on a charge card. I had a $100 bill and $3 wrapped in the receipt that said change was $3. The man showed me the price on the register, and I could have sworn I saw $12. So here I go unfolding the $3. It changed to a 10 and 2 singles. That was 12. He pointed at the register again. He showed me it was 16. The register was old. And so I was like, I don't have it. This is like the third time I'm telling him I don't have it. So now I stretched the money out again, the 10 and the 2 singles, and it changed again to a 10, a 5, and a single. And the Dunkin' Donuts man looked at me like, how did you do that? And I was like, you saw it too? And I started jumping for joy. Right? So like, I've seen things. It's not a normal life that I'm living. When you start seeing things like that, it's like, okay. But now I'm at such a point where it's like an everyday occurrence almost to like know and believe and see through the simulation to such a degree. It's like, well, I don't check the weather app anymore because if the weather is in alignment with me, that means it's going to be sunny. That's it, except when my kids are around, because there was one time we were coming home from New York and I was all like, healthy weather, right? Thank you for the beautiful starry sky, clear sky. Yeah. And the kids were like, we want snow. And I was like, no, I don't want snow. And they basically overpowered my energy field. And by the time we had rolled into the driveway, it was flurrying. And they were like, we did it. We beat Moon. You know, it's like, I can't believe you guys did that. So
yeah. Who wants to go on a ride with Danielle?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
so fun.
We should all. We do it, and we do amazing things, and we really work on opening up the chakras, on healing the body, and on allowing your energy to flow. So a lot of times we'll do qigong as well, because qigong is casting a qi ball and just taking it. You could feel the heat, you could feel the energy, put it into your body. So whenever we do the attachment clearings, I have people rub their hands, clap 3 times, and then I love and bless your body. And we go right down the entire body that way because we are casting love and light back into the physical form. So there's all these tiny little tools that we can use to raise our frequency. It's truly amazing. Yeah.
It really is beautiful. Hands-on healing is a real thing, you know? You know, when you said sometimes I think, oh my God, you know, my life is left of center. It's a little different. And we can use the C word, the crazy word. You know, for a lot of time, I didn't come out and give the messages that we talked about earlier. We're all getting these messages and I didn't. I was really afraid. I've been, you know, called.
It's okay. It's okay.
Crazy for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that really are worried about that when they're having a spiritual awakening?
Yeah. So I went through it too. I had to tell my family, hey, I'm talking to well, back then it was aliens. I don't use that anymore because they don't like the word. But then I had to tell my mom, I'm married to an Arcturian.
Yeah, there's no wedding is going to
There's
have
no
family
other
wedding.
way to describe my life, right? It's like, sorry, mom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fantastic. But when in all seriousness, when I first started out, I started out opening up the Tree of Life organization page because I didn't want to put my name, Danielle Lipton, posting out all this scientific information. And then because it was a page and it wasn't a personal profile, I wasn't allowed to post in certain groups. So after I was doing it for enough time, maybe a couple of months, and I had
yeah.
realized all of the people who were reading my posts were all giving me positive reactions and thanking me. They were like, thank you for giving us the information because it's really helpful. All the information's in my book because that's what all the posts are. So
Yeah.
when we start to realize and we start to broadcast it out, it was like, let me just put it under Danielle Lipton because it'll let me into certain groups, which I wanted to be in those groups because they're more aligned with like the Arcturians or even the Galactic Federation groups. I was in some of those too. So I had no choice. So then it started Danielle Lipton on Facebook, and then I did have some people who blocked me, and it was like that's something too. They
It
weren't ready for the
happens.
knowledge.
It's inevitable, right?
It's inevitable. But if I didn't do what I had done, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And so this is what I'm telling each and every one of you. If you're going to have people fall out of your life, that's okay too. I had to go through it even with my parents. I had to be that crazy one. And I don't use the word crazy, but that is how it was for a while. And then I was like, it's
That's
okay.
their perception.
Yeah. If you don't get it, that's fine too. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing me because this is the right thing. And the people need the knowledge so that they can spiritually ascend. I was like, this is something higher than me. This is higher knowledge than me, and the people need it. So that's another reason why every single post, I put them all out on my Facebook, on Tree of Life Organization. Star People Group is our group. All the posts are out there too. And then Danielle Lipton on Facebook. Every single post that's in the book is online already for free. You do not have to buy the book. It's all there. And I actually encourage people, take it, copy it, put your name on it if you really want to, and go share it with 100 people. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is the information is reaching the people it needs to reach in order to help them in their evolution process. So I'm not a gatekeeper, and I try and roll like that, right? We take what we have and we just share it. And the people who want to support me, they can send donations in through daniellelipton.com all the way down the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they can buy your book for one of their family members.
Some people get a couple copies. And then, the book is on Amazon. So it's called My Ascension Guide. And it's really, I like the color of the cover. It's beautiful. But the only reason why I keep showing it to you guys is specifically because we're doing the posts in the book and we are describing and going through all the posts. So if you guys want to get a copy of the book, get a copy of the book. And then as we are going through doing these lives, you'll have the post in front of you. You guys can ask questions about the post. Right. What was the hardest part about your spiritual awakening? Is feeling like the loved ones have shifted from me, which in turn triggers the neglect emotion. Yes. So that one was hard too, because I had to go through that too, where it was like, you're all alone. I spent years all alone. And even when I was around people, I still felt all alone, because when you're sitting on this type of knowledge and people want to talk about baseball, that is not something for me, right?
Baseball and boats.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, that's not what I want to talk about. So you could just imagine me, because I used to like go to like the gas stations, and then I used to spark up powwows, and then I would have a mob of people around me listening to me talk about spirits and ghosts and this and that, and the UFOs are here. Go outside, you can see them. They're up there. I see them all the time, right? And so like, that's the conversations I wanted to have. I would have to go out of my house and out of my comfort zone to find the people to have the conversations with. That's okay too. In time, the more and more you say, they have to just be who they are, and you have to be who you are, it actually allows them to start to go through the wake up process more rapidly. So you have to release the resistance. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, so many of us went through that quiet time, that alone time, but we needed it. It was like we were being put in timeout like that and watching people shift, fall away, whatever that is. But now it feels like there are so many of us and we're finding each other because we did the work. We had the solitude that we needed. So I think.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
We're doing one more question.
Right.
Okay.
Where are we? Is there any chance you could ask the star people of seeing the number 144 means anything significant? I don't know if you, okay, go ahead.
144 is actually a frequency range that allows access through the star portal, which is above the head. And that frequency means that you have gone through and unlocked a certain amount of, there's a star field, the star people are calling it, which is where the attachments are. Each one of these little energetic nodes on the star field, it's actually where the meridians and the ley lines cross over. It makes a little X. There's a little vortex energetic directly inside of that X. That X, it gets gunked up with things like attachments from different experiences that we have. 144 frequency means that you have cleaned off enough of this star field to allow access into the 5D frequency range. The star people are saying. Beautiful. Excellent.
Thank you so much for answering that.
Yes. Excellent. Oh, okay, so Emily said she got it on her Kindle after you heard the cool story. Yes, my Ascension Guide is on Kindle and Amazon and my website. You guys can get a PDF copy of it too. Excellent. We are doing the shadow work Zoom at 8:35 tonight. We'll start 5 minutes late because we're running a little late. I usually take a half hour to just rebalance. Anybody who wants to come, just send a message in to daniellelipton.com and you guys will get a complimentary Zoom link to come to all of the shadow work sessions because we are doing this to be a tribe and to heal each other and to heal in the process. So there's no compensation needed. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Jody, once again.
Thank
you
you
are
for
absolutely amazing.
You are. And thank you to the star people so much for being here and answering these questions. Like, I'm so grateful.
Thank you, star people, for answering all of the questions. Thank you for channeling with us tonight. Thank you so incredibly much for rebalancing everybody's energetic grid structures. And thank you for casting love and light at us. And we love you guys and we send you many love and blessings. Excellent. Shadow work Zoom. So yeah, just send a message and come. Excellent. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Okay.
Perfect. Bye. Did I end it? I think I ended it.